Okay, so we're going to move on to zinc. So again, zinc is a trace mineral, essential, required in small amounts. Function. So zinc is going to also be a coenzyme for hemoglobin production. So it's required for hemoglobin production and for many other enzymes that work in other processes throughout the body. It's also required for proper growth and development. And lastly, it's required for proper immune function. Again, there is evidence to suggest that zinc plays a role in shortening the duration of the common cold in healthy people. Okay. And evidence suggests with that higher doses than the RDA would have to be required, and there's different forms. Specifically, zinc acetate has been shown to be pretty effective. Okay, so zinc in foods, the RDA for adult women is 8 milligrams per day. It's a little bit higher for men, 11 milligrams per day. Again, the need for zinc is relatively small, but the amount of zinc absorbed is variable. It's absorbed in the small intestine, and absorption is going to depend on our diet composition and also our body's needs. So your body will only absorb as much zinc kind of as it needs. Vegetarians, again, may need zinc supplementation because high good sources of zinc include red meats, some seafood like oysters. Look at the amount in oysters, pretty high, as well as whole grains and enriched grains and cereals. Okay, so a little bit harder for vegetarians to get the RDA of zinc compared to non-vegetarians. So on to deficiencies and toxicity. And so we'll start with deficiencies first. Deficiencies, first of all, for zinc are pretty uncommon in the United States, more common in regions of the world where poverty limits food choices. And so again, the availability of food that is rich in zinc is lower in certain parts of the world. Symptoms of a zinc deficiency: loss of appetite, delayed growth and sexual maturation, immune dysfunction, right? Zinc's required for our immune system to function properly, dermatitis. So these are skin issues, as well as impaired vitamin A function, alopecia, as well as severe diarrhea. And so shown here in this picture is a baby who is suffering from a zinc deficiency, and you can see on his face he's got a dermatitis, or her, not really positive. Toxicity, excess dietary zinc is usually not a problem. It's excreted in fecal material, not absorbed. However, taking supplements, over supplementation, as we've seen, when we talked about vitamins as well as minerals, and here we go, trace minerals. Again, toxicity is usually not from diet, it's usually from supplements. You have to consume 5 or more times the RDA to have a problem here. There is an upper limit to zinc, it's 40 milligrams per day. And so again, some people will take zinc to shorten colds. There is some evidence to suggest that that's effective, but we need to be careful of how much we're taking. Symptoms: if you take too much, intestinal pain, cramps, nausea, vomiting, loss of appetite, and diarrhea. It can actually, taking too much can impair immune function. And so it can have the opposite effect of what you want. It can also reduce copper absorption. Okay, so we're going to talk about copper in just a few minutes. Okay, here we go, copper. So copper is the next part of the chapter. Copper is an antioxidant. It's required for iron transport. It's involved in the regulation of some neurotransmitters. It's also an important part of many enzymes in the body, so there are many enzymes that can't function without copper. It also has a role in the formation of connective tissue throughout the body. Okay, so very, very important. Copper in foods. Again, the RDA for adults is 900 milligrams per day. Or sorry, this should say micrograms per day. And that's going to be for males and females. So this is not an M here. This is a micro, not milligram. Sources: organ meats, shellfish, nuts, seeds, and whole grain foods. Absorption happens in the small intestine, and again, it's going to be based on the body's needs. So if copper stores are low, your body will absorb more. If you have copper, appropriate levels, your body won't absorb it. So deficiencies, again, are rare. Symptoms of deficiencies, anemia. So again, you're not going to have the proper red blood cell numbers. You also have decreased white blood cells. So that's going to be called leukopenia. You'll have skeletal abnormalities, which is called osteopenia. Loss of skin and hair pigmentation. Cardiovascular changes, and lastly, impaired immune function. There is some evidence to suggest that deficiencies in copper may increase the risk of neurological disorders like ALS as well as Alzheimer's. But again, more research is needed here. Toxicities of copper are also rare. Again, dietary copper is not absorbed if it's not needed. Oversupplementation can happen. So again, accidental overdoses. So taking too high of a level of supplements. And secondly, there have been instances where there's been copper in water sources, and individuals drinking water with copper in it could end up exceeding the upper limit. And so here's the upper limit down here, 10 milligrams per day. Okay, so you don't want to have over that. There is also a genetic disorder called Wilson's disease. This genetic disorder results in excess copper storage. Okay, and so that can lead to toxicity. Symptoms: abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. Again, very general symptoms. In severe cases, if copper accumulates in the liver, that can lead to cirrhosis of the liver. And it could also accumulate in the brain, leading to, again, neurological damage. Okay, and we'll do manganese as well. So manganese, there's no RDA, we only have an AI, so adequate intake. For women, it's going to be 1.8 milligrams per day, and for men, 2.3. Deficiencies of manganese are rare. It's absorbed in the small intestine. Dietary foods that contain, good levels of manganese. We have a nice graph here showing that as usual. Whole grains, nuts, legumes, leafy greens. You can see spinach on there, okay, as well as other sources. There is an upper limit. It's 11 milligrams per day. Toxicity of manganese can cause severe neurological impairment and symptoms similar to Parkinson's disease, so stiff muscles and tremors. Okay. What does manganese do in our bodies? It's a cofactor, again, for many enzymes. So when we talk about carbohydrate metabolism, manganese is going to be required. Gluconeogenesis, collagen formation. It also serves as an antioxidant, protecting our cells' DNA from damage, and it has nervous system function. Okay, and we will break there. We'll pick up with iodine in the next video.